Good morning. Welcome back to another Wednesday on the Pagan Perspective. I'm your Wednesday host, Yeka, and this week we're talking about how we choose and how we as hosts chose our holidays, what holidays we celebrate. So, to start with, I was raised celebrating the secular holidays. So, your Christmas, 4th of July, all of those sorts of things. Oh wow, the sun just came up, so that's probably going to wash me out. Sorry. And also observing, I wouldn't say quite celebrating, but the solstices and equinoxes. The wheel of the year is something that was not practiced in my family and something that I learned about as a teenager and sort of experimented a little bit with, but didn't really get into it until I was an adult. So we talked a lot about, and when I say we, I mean my partner and I, my husband, about what we valued from our childhoods and what we wanted to carry through into our future together as a family, and then also for our children. And one of the things that was really important was traditions. But we don't believe in Jesus and things like that. So our holidays wouldn't be about the birth of specific deities or things like that, but about celebrating what we do value. And what we really value is being alive, right? Being part of this magnificent world. Let me see. I don't know if this camera is going to pick up. This is going to be way too washed out as dawn comes up here, but I'm looking out over these beautiful ridges and sitting up on a cliff and things like that celebrate moments like this. We value getting to experience each other, the love of friendship and family. And we value being part of nature. We value the ecosystems that we are ourselves and are members of. And so, and the seasons and the passing of all of those cycles. So deciding to celebrate the Wheel of the Year was sort of a no-brainer for us. But coming up with what that really meant was a little bit trickier. So we do live in an area that has 4 seasons, usually. Sometimes spring or fall gets skipped. And I'm getting way too washed out. Let me see if I can get into a shadow. Let's see here. Still kind of washed out a little bit, but let's see. So our experience of the seasons somewhat matches sort of the traditional Wheel of the Year, which is based on a British kind of Northern European temperate interpretation. But it doesn't match perfectly. So the first step that we had over the years was to really try and be present with the seasons and to learn what that meant for our environment. Even though we both grew up here, modern lives, we often spend time just shuttling from one environmentally controlled building to another, and we really don't end up experiencing the full range of what is going on around us from the temperatures to what the plants are doing to the animals to everything. So being present with that, and actually, it's kind of a little not quite a catch-22, but part of what helped us learn that was just diving in and starting to observe and practice the holidays to begin with, and letting ourselves adapt that as time went on, and recognizing that certain things that might traditionally be a harvest festival for one group, like we're not harvesting yet at that point. There's no harvest yet, so we're not going to celebrate it as a harvest. but we really wanted to focus on those as the center of our practice, so that we experienced it more fully, and it was so that there were the traditions for our children as well to really get to have that as they grew up and have those memories and that strong association that, bless our own families who really worked on giving us wonderful childhoods, but we're not quite as connected with our land, with our biome as we could have been. And so that's something that we said we value as pagans. How do we give that gift? So celebrating those holidays. And there were definitely in the beginning some of them that we didn't connect with as deeply in terms of on the Wheel of the Years we did with others, that we prefer certain times of the year. And I actually found it incredibly valuable to try to connect with those anyways. And that's something that I would invite you to do as well. I know that in past conversations on this channel, in the comments, we've talked with people about not really, actually, we had a video about it several years back too, about not really connecting with certain holidays and how we might do so. Now, of course, you guys know me, I'm always about saying, hey, do what works for you. But I think that there is some merit in in the exploration, and the attempt to understand and connect with something that we might not immediately be comfortable with gives the potential for a tremendous amount of growth. So how one might do that, let's say they really don't connect with, I don't know, with Mabon or something like that, right? With the fall equinox, because they don't like that it's getting into the cold and all of that. Maybe trying to explore if there's certain elements that is uncomfortable, symbol. It's like, I know that for, we just had Samhain or Halloween. Some people really don't like the kind of ghoulish symbology that goes along with that, but there's a bunch of other symbology, or even dropping that and looking at your own ecosystem and saying, well, what's going on in my ecosystem? What can I use from that, right? And if you get spooked out by like the jack-o'-lanterns and skeletons and all of that, it's like, well, are there acorns? Are there, what is the weather doing? What are the birds doing? Could it be a celebration for you about the transition, about the migration of the birds, that sort of thing? So I guess, yeah, let me try and gather my thoughts here. I think that's kind of what I wanted to say this week. It's pretty chilly, so I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee, and I would love to hear from y'all in the comments, if there are, what your take on the holidays are. Are there certain holidays that traditionally mean something, traditionally within the Wheel of the Year, even though that our current kind of interpretation of the Wheel of the Year is new, although some of the holidays are based on older holidays. The 8 holidays is a pretty new phenomenon. But are there traditions that you have? Do they mean something different to you than sort of what you'd find on Wikipedia? I'd love to know. And I'd love to know too if they just match up perfectly for you. So let us know, and until next week, take care.